Closing costs are expenses that are incurred during the real estate transaction. These expenses are paid at closing and can vary depending on the location of the property and who your lender is, just to name a few. As a buyer, you're going to want to know what fees you're responsible for paying for before you start home shopping. Understand what the closing costs are and why they're important, and also budget for closing costs to avoid surprises at the end of the process. So there's going to be a few things that you guys can do to help minimize your closing costs. The first one is we can negotiate with the seller to pay some of your closing costs, and this is going to be dependent on market conditions. What you can do also, because the seller is really cares about how much they net. And so if market conditions are not allowing for your offer to be as competitive as it would be, let's say in a buyer's market, with adding closing costs in there at the price that you want to purchase the home, what you can do is you can increase the sales price with the amount that you're asking for the seller to pay in closing costs so that they can net the same amount that they would normally if you were not asking for the closing costs. That's how you can bundle up your closing costs together so you come in with less down payment. That's one way to get around it. Also, shop around for the best deals when it comes to homeowners insurance. One tip that I can provide to you is if you can go to whomever you're using for your car insurance, and sometimes they have bundle packages where you can bundle your car insurance, your homeowners insurance, earthquake insurance, flood insurance, all together to give you a discounted price. So definitely shop that around as well. And then also you're going to want to shop around your mortgage loan to compare costs and credits from different lenders. So one thing I do want to say is closing costs can become confusing. So avoid mistakes by getting a detailed estimate, shopping around for lenders. What you're going to get is a loan estimate and a closing cost worksheet. One thing that I would definitely ask is when you get that loan estimate, you can definitely feel free to ask your loan officer to go over certain fees with you so that you can fully understand the process and what those fees are. But we're going to go ahead and do that here today for you as well. Okay, so here on my screen, you're going to notice the website to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This company is a U.S. government agency that makes sure that banks, lenders, and other financial companies treat you fairly. So go onto this website. I'm going to post the link to this in the description so that you can browse through the website here. But this is a great resource to use when purchasing a home because it gives you a lot of information just about, different things, preparing to shop, exploring your loan choices, etc. Comparing loan officers and getting ready to close. But I wanted to show you a copy of a loan estimate. Here's an example from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and they give a detailed explanation as to what it is. So let's get into that right now. Okay, here we go. So here's a sample loan estimate. Again, the link to this page is going to be in the description, but this is a sample loan estimate. This is what the bank is going to give you so that you can take a look at what they are offering based on the program that you guys discussed. You guys might go over different programs and various options, but you are going to get one of these. They're going to put one of the programs on here for you so that you can take a look at all of the details. And this is the form that you're going to use to do your due diligence and to shop around your mortgage loan. So to the right, if you click here, it highlights what these boxes, or you can actually click the boxes and it'll highlight what it's for. So let's see here. So you have your loan amount, your interest rate. And by the way, when they quote you an interest rate, the interest rate is good for that day. It's not locked. So interest rates change daily. So you will not know what your interest rate is going to be until you actually get a signed offer and you open escrow. Then your lender is going to work with you and advise whether you should lock your loan same day, next day, float your loan. That's something that you, the mortgage banker or the mortgage broker, will be able to help you with. And that's when you'll know exactly what your interest rate is going to be. This is just an estimate. Prepayment penalty. Does the loan come with a prepayment penalty? A prepayment penalty is, what that means is, if you were to pay off your loan sooner than 30 years, is there going to be a penalty? That means if you sell the house within a certain amount of time, or if you refinance the house, will you have to pay a fee? In this example, it says yes, as high as $3,240 if you pay the loan off during the first 2 years. So that is something that's going to be important and good for you to know when comparing different brokers. That's a good one. Is this going to be a balloon payment? No. Then you have your principal, interest, your mortgage insurance. All of these are estimates. Everything is an estimate. Your closing costs, estimated closing costs, and cash to close. These are the upfront closing costs or settlement costs are the upfront costs you will be charged to get your loan and transfer ownership to the property. They are part what you have to pay in closing. Your cash to close is the amount you will have to pay in closing in addition to any money you have already paid. This payment is usually made by a cashier's check or wire transfer. You will need to provide your lender with proof of the source of funds here. So when you get pre-approved, they're going to pull out this form here, and based on the cash you need to close, they're going to need to make sure that you have those funds in the bank in order for you to process your pre-approval. Okay, so now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, and this is the breakdown of fees. This area is where I want you to take a look at, because this is what you're going to be comparing. All of these other fees, especially title fees and escrow fees, those are estimates because we don't know yet what company we're going to be working with, and these are just ballpark rough estimates. Also homeowners insurance, your mortgage insurance, your property taxes, depending on where you're buying, the property tax rate can be anywhere from 1% to 2%, sometimes 2.25%. So it just really depends, especially if you're buying in an area where there's Mello-Roos, that's another property tax. So going back to this place, this is where you're going to be looking on page 2 in the upper left-hand corner, the lender's fees. Are you going to be paying origination fees? This is what the bank is going to be charging you. Discount points. So discount points are fees that you pay to lower your interest rate. So you can get an interest rate that doesn't cost any money. You can get a lower interest rate that you can pay for. Or in some cases, you can get a higher interest rate that will give you a credit to go towards your closing costs. That's another way that you can decrease the amount of money that you bring into escrow, is by asking the lender, saying, hey, if I were to increase my interest rate by X amount, how much money could I potentially be getting back to help me with the closing costs? That's another strategy to use when pre-planning with your lender. So if you do end up paying for your rate, it'll be right here. Loan amount points. Some lenders have application fees and underwriting fees. So this is the tool that you're going to use to compare. Also, this can change depending again on the interest rate at the time, because if you're quoted an interest rate that's higher this day and it's lower, then these numbers can technically change too. So the best thing to do when shopping for your loan is to get these estimates, keep them. And then once you have a signed agreement, and once you submit an offer to a seller, you see a home, you submit your offer, and you guys shake hands and seller decides to sell you the house, that process gets started. So now you have the 3 estimates, you go back to your lenders and you say, hey, I just got a house, let's go ahead and start this process. What are interest rates? Can you send me an updated loan estimate? Can you give me a closing cost worksheet? Sometimes they'll provide you a closing cost worksheet, but the difference between the two are, let me go back. On a closing cost worksheet, and I'll show you an example of what that looks like. But this loan estimate by far is the most detailed estimate because you're going to get to know the prepayment penalty information, the balloon payment information. Also, let me go to the very last page that we didn't go over yet. Right here. This is not going to be on the closing cost worksheet in comparison. So use these measures to compare this loan with other loans. In 5 years, this is how much you're going to be paying to principal, interest, mortgage, insurance, and loan costs. This is the amount that you will have paid down on your loan. This is your APR. Your APR is your interest rate and your closing costs. They use that as a percentage. So you can compare the APR rate as well. The total interest percentage, the tip, this is the total amount of interest you'll pay over the loan term as a percentage of your loan amount. So let me go ahead and let me show you what a closing cost worksheet looks like. Let me go get that. So here's what it looks like, but let me zoom in because you're going to be able to see. Let's see here. We have your loan amount, your purchase price, your interest rate, the type of loan, and your loan to value. This is going to be how much the amount of loan you're going to be getting on the house because you're putting the difference down for your down payment. So these are all the estimated closing costs. And as you can see, similar to the loan estimate, all the fees are here as well. Your discount point, your lender's fees, funding fees, appraisal fees, a reinspection fee if that's needed, all down the line. Closing costs. So this is the total here of what that would be for you guys if you were getting a form just like this. And you have closing costs, and then you also have prepaids. What are the difference between closing costs and prepaids? Closing costs, this is the cost, the fees associated with purchasing a home. And then prepaids are the items that you need to pay in advance pertaining to your home, which is going to be the interest. They collect 30 days of interest. So just so you know too, here's another tip about what to foresee when purchasing a home. So when you purchase a home, you are going to be paying 30 days of interest in advance. So we are in May 2023 as of today. So let's say you closed escrow, you purchased your house in May, June, July. June is paid for. You already paid for it. So your first payment is not going to be due until July. So you close the date. So the month that you close, you skip a month. And that's when your payment is due. Another good thing about when you purchase a home versus renting, and it really does depend on your contract, but usually rent is due on the 1st and it's late either on the 3rd or the 5th. Well, with purchasing a home, you get your mortgage statement around the 1st and it's late on the 15th. So they give you more of a grace period too. So that's another fun fact about purchasing a home. Okay, so getting back to prepaids, you collect 30 days of interest. This is your homeowner's insurance. And also, if you're going to elect to have your taxes and insurance paid with your mortgage, because that is an option as well, you're going to have what they call an escrow account. They're going to be collecting a certain amount of money to pay for your taxes because they pay them for you. Taxes are due twice a year, in April and December. So depending on the month, they need to collect a certain amount so that they can make sure that they pay them for you. So you're going to notice, and we see here in this example, that for property taxes, they need to take 5 months. And for homeowners insurance, they need to take 2 months. And so the prepaids in this scenario are $10,000. Okay, so I want to share a tool with you that I have, and I can offer this to you if it's something that you would like me to help you with. So I have a tool where I can get a buyer's cost estimate done for you if you really want to get a rough idea of what closing costs are going to be for you. So let's go ahead and do a sample one so I can show you. Let me just put test here. County of Los Angeles, city, let's go Monrovia. Shout out to Monrovia. And let's say we're doing a conventional loan, sales price, 900,000. Calculate now. Okay. And this does a lot of the calculations for me here. So closing costs, everything is just going to be estimated. The loan origination fee, this is how much the lender is going to be charging. So 1%. I don't see origination fees anymore, really, to be honest with you. Let's go ahead and put 1,200. And then everything else is pretty much defaulted. So you have your subtotal 3,575 that you're looking at, collecting for taxes and insurance. And let's say, hypothetically speaking, you're going to be putting $10 down at an interest rate of, let's go 6.5% for a 30-year fixed. You got your payments right here, and you have your prepaids closing costs. So the estimated payment is going to be here, and the total cash, including closing costs and down payment, is going to be this amount right here, 104,000. And we have the full and complete breakdown for you. The only thing though, when we do these types of analysis, it's going to be super general because every fee is hypothetical, especially the lender's fees. So even though preliminarily we're drawing these numbers on the PDF here, I would definitely 100% recommend that you go through the pre-approval process and get the loan estimate from the lender. So those are closing costs. What did you guys think? What questions do you have? Put them down in the comments and I'll be happy to help you and answer any questions that you have. For those of you that are working with me already, once you get your loan estimates, send them to me and let's go over them together. And if you would like to work with me, there's a QR code right there. That's the best way to connect with me. Get on my calendar, book a phone call, and let's talk about your real estate goals. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day. And again, make sure that you like, subscribe, and ring that bell notification so that you know the next time I upload another video. All right, you guys take care. Bye.